Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. And I wanted to talk about something. I get some interesting emails sometimes, some suggestions, some ideas, not necessarily a question. I guess maybe there's a question in here. But what about if we talked about being sentimental and keeping things, minimalism, these kind of ideas? So I got an email here that says, let's see here. I'm going to skip to the good stuff here. He says, okay, we were talking about buying an IBM PC, like an old IBM PC. And he says, if you buy one, you'll have to undo all your minimalist talking points. I try to be a minimalist. I love being a minimalist. My dream would be to just have a backpack and just have a laptop and just like a few things in there, just like, and just rock it. That's all I got. That's all, everything that I own, I can carry on my back. That would be my dream, but that's not always reality, especially when you're running a business. I need some camera equipment, need some lights, need an office and stuff like that, but I still try to keep it as minimal as I can, all right? So he says here, as I was typing the above thought about how non-minimalist, I thought about how minimalist I am. There's a lot of stuff in this house from 73 years of life. Then I asked myself why, and I realized some of it reminds me of pleasant things from the past, but I rarely think about the past. Is there a video here? Is being too sentimental somehow detrimental? It's not quite the same as your letting go videos. So I did some videos on letting go, if you want to know what he's talking about there. So this is an interesting thing. So I'm actually going to give you a strategy, something that I do to deal with this. But first I want to talk about the idea of being sentimental and if there's some value in that or not, or if you can be too sentimental. And what does it mean to be sentimental? So sentimental, in my mind, like to define it, means that like you're looking back in the past a lot in an emotional way, right? So I think that a lot of people get stuck in the past. I think being sentimental, I did this video, gosh, I can't remember. I was talking to someone who was like stuck in the past. It's called You're Stuck in the Past, I think. And it was about how he was just stuck in his past life of being a Marine, salute him for being a Marine, but he just like could not get past that. It just like had so many fond memories of that. And Uncle Rico, right? Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite? If you haven't watched the Napoleon Dynamite movie, this is one of the few movies that I watched. No, I used to watch more movies. I hardly watch any now, but it's a good movie. But there's a character in there, Uncle Rico. Okay, and Uncle Rico is always reminiscing about his high school days. Like he's this loser now, right? Just complete loser. But back in high school, when he was the quarterback or whatever, that was his golden era. And this is like 20 years later, he's still living in that era. So what I think is that being sentimental like that, and a lot of times hurts. And a lot of you guys, again, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this, is like, a lot of you are like sentimental about this past girlfriend or this girl that you had a crush on, and you relive these moments, and it's not helpful to you. It's not helpful to do that. But again, am I saying that all memories and all emotional memories are bad? No, I mean the purpose of life is to create memory. Like if you didn't have memory, you wouldn't have life, right? So we, a lot of the money that I spend today, I don't spend a lot of money, but I spend it on like traveling and stuff and creating memories, because that is the thing that like really adds a quality to your life. I think that's what builds a full life. So I can't say not to be sentimental, or I can't say not to build memories. I would just say that be careful that you're not living your life there, that you're not completely smitten with the past, right? You need to be living in the present. It's very difficult to balance this. We talk about the power of now and in the present. There's a really good book called The Power of Now, by the way, by Eckhart Tolle. It's a little bit woo-woo, but it did change a lot of my perspective, and I was very resistant to read it, but it makes a lot of sense. But the goal is really that we're not looking so much to the future, right? Like, because some of us, when we're living our lives in the future, we're like, someday, right? I did this video on someday, which you can check out. But we're like, someday I'm gonna do this, or someday when I finally retire, then I'll live my life, then I'll enjoy my life. Someday when I finally get a girlfriend, someday when I finally get my degree, someday when I finally make this amount of money. And we're living so far in the future that our life goes by, and it's sad and we're never actually enjoying the moment and living it. And then some of us live so far in the past that it's like, oh, I remember the old days, reminiscing all the time, always being sentimental, always thinking about how things were better back back then when they really weren't. They could be better now, but you're living there. You're living in that past. You're dwelling in that stuff instead of facing the reality. And you have so many regrets and things like that. So it's hard. A lot of people live in, and some people live in both of those places. The only place they're not living is the present. So one thing that we really need to try to do is try to be in the present moment, to live in the present. So if you're being too sentimental, it's causing you to live in the past too much, then you kind of need to cut that shit off. You need to cut yourself off from that because it's not helpful. It's not benefiting you. You want to be in the present. Now, if you're living in the present, if you're living your life, if you're living a full life, part of that is reminiscing, is thinking about some of the memories that you had. As I just went on a trip to Boise, Idaho, where I did the keynote for the Boise Code Camp, I ran through some areas. Those memories came flooding back. Sentimental memories of struggles. Like I remember the state I was in at that point. I remember having this crush on this girl. I remember going on this, actually getting her and going on this date, and that was like such an exciting thing for me because it was the first time in my life that I felt like validated by all kinds of things that today I would tell you, no, external validation is bad. But to me at that time, it was a rush, right? It was these feelings, right? Going out with friends and the places and the struggles and the things I was thinking then, it all came back. But it sort of also came back to close the loop there, right? So I had a lot of open-ended type of things, and I've changed and grown as a person and resolved those things, and I can look at those things with fresh eyes, and I can see them. I can still appreciate the pain and the memories and the things that I thought about then, but I don't dwell on them. It doesn't hurt me anymore. It feels good. It feels good because I've grown past them, because I've closed the book on those things. I'm not living there. I can visit. Okay, and that's the difference, I think, that makes the difference. And it's good to go back and revisit those things and close those books. And it was good that I did that. And that was sentimental. But again, it was closing the books. It wasn't going back. It wasn't trying to go back and live there. You can't live back there in the past. I can't be 21 again. It's not going to happen, or 19 or whatever it was. I can't, right? And I shouldn't try to. But I can appreciate the pathway, the milestones, what brought me to where I am today. And so that's where I think that the place of being sentimental comes into play. And I think you should have some markers, some milestones. Sometimes I wish I had more artifacts or more things that remind me. So now I'm going to get to the strategy here of how you can be a minimalist and still retain some of these things, because our memories aren't so good, right? There is some value, some benefit in having a recorded history or having things that remind you of times, of memories, right? That's why we get keepsakes and mementos, and why we take pictures, and why we record videos, right? It's kind of cool. Like I have this whole navigation of my life. It's becoming an entrepreneur from when I started recording Entreprogrammers episodes. So you can check out the first episode here. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was really dorky, especially recording YouTube videos. I was still and I can see my progression as I learned. It became a business person, became a stronger person, became more masculine, and became identified with my masculinity, and grew into myself where I am today. And I still have a long way to grow, but I can see that progress. So that's really cool. So I can go back and see those checkpoints. So it's kind of cool that I'm documenting this. Essentially, as I'm doing these YouTube videos every day, I see my own changes and I can go back. So that's pretty cool. But I went off topic. What I want to tell you was the strategy. So I like to be a minimalist, right? So I get rid of a lot of shit, right? I pretty much get rid of books. I get rid of CDs, video games, all kinds of stuff. I got rid of all my high school yearbooks. I got rid of cards that people sent me, birthday cards, all this stuff that would be really sentimental and people hold on to. But what do I do? So I take pictures of them, okay? And it's almost like the same thing, right? So you can be a minimalist. This is the strategy I give you, and you can throw out a bunch of shit. Like I'm not a hoarder. I believe in being as minimalist as possible, but you want to retain some of those memories. So all you got to do in today's digital age is just take pictures. And if you really want to, you can sort of timeline those things and organize them, and you can visit and you can go back and you can remember some of those things on a schedule. You could put it on your calendar if you really want to be there, but you've always got them. You've always got them on the computer. You've always got them in Dropbox or in the cloud or whatever, and you've got those pictures. So like things like high school yearbooks, if I was really interested, I took a picture of it, and now I can go look at that picture and I can remember what that object looked like. And I don't have the physical object, and maybe there's something to be said about that, but I don't want to store all these physical objects. Not to say that I don't have some, right? As I've traveled Europe, I've tried to always bring some kind of little trinket or something, but it serves as a purpose because it's a decoration for my office and for my closet and things like that. But I guess it's not true minimalism. But I wouldn't have any problem getting rid of those things. Like I could take pictures of them and get rid of them if I needed to at some point in the future. But right now, I'm willing to be a little bit more pragmatic in my minimalism, because the things that I have are serving me. At least I believe they are to the purpose. So. Great question. I think this is an interesting thing to talk about, interesting thing to discuss, and yeah, you gotta always evaluate the things, I think, in life and decide, is it benefiting you or hurting you, right? And so some person could be sentimental and it could be benefit to them, but some person could be very sentimental and it could be harmful because they're living in the past, because they're hoarding a bunch of shit, and it's preventing them from living in the present and moving on to the future. So you got to look at things and say, what is this doing to me? Is it good? Is it bad? What is the proper dosage of what I'm undertaking? All right, that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button below, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.